Hello everyone and welcome back to this week's video. If you're new here, I'm Serenity and I'm so happy to have you here. Before we jump into today's video, I just want to say a huge thank you for helping us reach 2,000 subscribers. I honestly didn't expect anything when I started making these fun little videos about my life, but I'm so grateful for each and every one of you who watches, likes, and engages with my content. It really means more than you know. Let's jump into this week's video. I'm super excited to take you along as I make 5 dishes inspired by some of my favorite Disney movies from my childhood. So let's get started. To start off, we're going to be making congee, just like the one Mushu makes for Mulan before her first day of training. For this recipe, I used 1 cup of white jasmine rice and gave it a good rinse. For the water, I did 4 cups to 1 cup of rice, but you can adjust that depending on how thick or soupy you would like your porridge. I usually end up adding a bit more water as it cooks. While the rice is boiling, let's chop up some fresh ginger and shallot. I cut mine pretty thin, but the size-wise is totally up to you, and then you can add that to the pot. This part is optional, but I threw in a tablespoon of chicken bouillon for some extra flavor. When your rice is done cooking, let it cool down a bit and then start cooking your bacon. And yes, I did do a smiley face just like Mushu did, and I fried 2 eggs. Once your bacon and eggs are done, it is time to assemble everything together. It turned out so cute and super yummy, and honestly, eating this brought back so many childhood memories for me. Whenever I was sick, I remember my grandma would always be making rice porridge for me, and it was something that I always looked forward to, and it's a memory that I will always cherish. For our next dish, we are making spinach puffs from the Emperor's New Groove. For this recipe, I actually prepped the dough the day before, and I just want to preface that it didn't come out exactly the way I had hoped, but in the end, it still came out super yummy. If you want to follow along and make the dough from scratch with me, feel free to, but if you're short on time, no worries. You can totally use store-bought pastry dough from your local grocery stores, and it'll still turn out delicious. For this recipe, you'll need flour, butter, sugar, spinach, bacon, feta cheese, parmesan cheese, cream cheese, garlic, and shallots. We're going to start with our dough first. We're going to start by shredding our butter, and once that's done, combine the butter, flour, sugar, and then add a tablespoon of ice cold water until the dough comes together. Once the dough is ready, wrap it in plastic wrap and pop it in the fridge for an hour. While we wait, let's watch The Emperor's New Groove. This was my first time watching it and I absolutely loved it. The humor and style of how it's filmed is just so entertaining. I don't know how I went this long without seeing it. Once the hour is up, grab your dough and we are going to start folding it. On a floured surface, roll out the dough. Then we are going to do 2 folds like I'm doing here and roll it out again. I did this a total of 3 times. You can use this dough right away or chill it overnight. Since I'm making this dough ahead of time, I'm going to wrap it up and save it for tomorrow. Let's move on to the filling. Start by mincing up some garlic and shallots. Remove the stems off your spinach, and you're going to mince the spinach as well. In a pan with olive oil, saute your garlic and shallots, and then add in your spinach. You're going to want to cook your spinach down until it's wilted, and then season with salt and black pepper. To a bowl, add your cream cheese, feta cheese, parmesan, the spinach mixture, and 1 egg yolk. I also added bacon in there as well for an extra flavor boost and gave it a good stir. It is finally time to start assembling our spinach puffs. First, we are going to roll out our dough and cut our dough into rectangles. Once your rectangles are cut, place the filling in the middle, and we are going to wet 2 of the edges with egg wash and press the 2 edges together to seal the puff. Once you've completed all of your puffs, we're going to add another egg wash on top and bake your puffs at 400 degrees for 18 to 20 minutes. Cooking and baking is all about trial and error, and as I mentioned earlier, my homemade pastry dough didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted, so I ended up running to the store to grab the store-bought pastry dough, and I found that with the store-bought dough, the puffs were a lot flakier and crispier, and with my homemade dough, it was a little bit more dense, but honestly, both versions still tasted so yummy, and I will definitely be making more of these in the future. The next dish we are going to make is hazelnut soup from Tangled, and I'm not gonna lie, I was super hesitant to make this. I thought it was going to be really complicated, but honestly, I ended up loving it, and it really wasn't complicated at all. The ingredients you'll need are butternut squash, parsnips, leek, shallots, hazelnuts, broth, and a bit of whipping cream. We're first going to prep our squash. We're going to cut it in half, scoop out the seeds, drizzle olive oil, and season with salt and black pepper. And bake at 400 degrees for 35 to 45 minutes, just until it's tender and you can easily poke a fork through it. While our squash is baking, let's move on to the other ingredients. First, we're going to peel our parsnip, leek, and shallot and slice everything into small pieces. Now for the hazelnuts, I bought roasted ones to make things easier, but raw is totally fine too. We just need to get as much of the skin off as possible, and to do that, soak them in water, then place them in a paper towel and roll them around. It doesn't need to be perfect, we just want to get most of the skin off. And once we're done, blend the hazelnuts with some water to make a hazelnut milk, and then we're going to strain it to get it as smooth as possible. Once your squash is done baking, we are going to scoop out the roasted flesh and set it aside. In a large pot, melt some butter and olive oil and saute your leek and shallots for a few minutes until fragrant. Add in your parsnips, squash, and the hazelnut mixture and season with salt and black pepper and let it simmer until the parsnips are nice and soft. Once everything is cooked down, blend it all together until smooth and stir in a splash of whipping cream and it is ready to serve. To top off the soup, I added some whipping cream on the top and a little swirl design along with some olive oil and black pepper. Look how yummy this looks. I really enjoyed this dish. It's super flavorful and cozy, but it is super rich. I could only handle a small bowl, and so I ended up sharing with my husband. And I also toasted some bread on the side, which was the perfect pairing. But overall, this soup was absolutely delicious and definitely worth making. Moving on to our fourth dish, Ratatouille. Ever since I was little, I absolutely loved the movie, and I have so many childhood memories tied to it, so it only felt right to include this dish. I've been wanting to try it for a while now, and I'm so happy to finally be making it. For this recipe, you'll need Roma tomatoes, yellow squash, zucchini, eggplant, red bell pepper, shallot, garlic, thyme, and basil. We're going to start by charring our red bell peppers over the stove. This takes a little time, so be patient, but once it's all charred around, place it in a bowl and cover it with plastic wrap. Let it sit for about 10 minutes to steam so the skin will be easier to remove. While the peppers are resting, let's prep our tomatoes. We're going to blanch them, so first remove the stem and score an X on the bottom. Once you've completed all of your tomatoes, we are going to drop them in boiling water for about 15 seconds, and then you can transfer them to an ice bath. The skin should peel right off. Once all your tomatoes are peeled, you can quarter the tomatoes and set them aside. Now that your red bell peppers have been steamed, pour a little warm water into the bowl to help loosen the skin. I used a knife and my hands to help peel off all the charred bits, but you want to get it as clean as you can, and then cut the bell peppers into small pieces. We're next going to dice our shallot and slice our garlic into a pot. We're going to saute the shallot and garlic in a little bit of olive oil. Then add your red bell peppers, tomatoes, thyme, and basil and let it simmer until the mixture reduces by half. While that's boiling down, it's time to prep the veggies for the layering. We're going to slice our zucchini, yellow squash, eggplant, and a few more Roma tomatoes into even, thin rounds, and try to make them all the same size so it looks nice and cooks evenly. Now, once your sauce has reduced by half, blend it until smooth, then strain it to get a smooth texture. Pour it back into the pot and reduce it again by half. Season with salt and black pepper. Next, pour your finished sauce into the bottom of a baking dish. Now for the fun part, layering, I went in the order of zucchini, yellow squash, eggplant, and tomato, and repeated that pattern all the way to the center. Once your veggie spiral is done, drizzle with olive oil, sprinkle with salt and black pepper, and cover it with parchment paper and bake at 375 for 45 minutes. And that's it, a beautiful cozy ratatouille straight out of the movie. It's absolutely so delicious, and it is at the top of my list to make again. Our last dish is a sweet one, and it's the famous beignets from The Princess and the Frog. These came out so fluffy and delicious, you're going to love them. The things you'll need are bread flour, sugar, milk, after dry yeast, vanilla extract, eggs, butter, salt, powdered sugar, honey, and oil. Let's start with our yeast mixture. In a bowl, add your warm milk, vanilla extract, sugar, and yeast, and give that a quick stir, and then set it aside to activate. Now in a large bowl, add your bread flour and salt, pour in your yeast mixture, then crack in 1 egg, and start kneading your dough until it comes together. Once it starts forming, add in your softened butter and knead again until the dough is nice and smooth. Transfer your dough to a lightly greased bowl and cover it and let it proof for about 1 to 2 hours or until it's doubled in size. Once it's risen, roll out your dough and cut it into small rectangles. Lastly, heat up your oil and carefully drop in the dough pieces. Fry them until they're puffed up and golden brown on both sides. When your beignets are fully done frying, while they're still warm, drizzle them with honey and give them a generous dusting of powdered sugar. We have finally reached the end of the video, and I had so much fun at trying these new recipes out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did. It was so much fun getting to experience these dishes in real life, and if you would decide to try out any of these recipes, definitely let me know in the comments. But as always, I will catch you guys in the next one.